It's about 7 years now since we started on the journey of building the financial services business. If I recollect, uh, we went to L&T board sometime in 2006 once, and again in August 2007. Uh, get an overall buy-in to our vision, more not as an organization, but all about business. We got a large check signed off by L&T. We did not use all of it. We used about 30-40% of what was approved. Then we went to the market, raised capital, used it reasonably well, while there is an expectation of a better returns to be produced. But that's all about business value, which businesses we do, what we don't do. Right? And in about a year back, as a group, we all developed a vision. It got modified a bit, and we have put together a vision for ourselves. So this evening, I'm expecting it to be a conversation with all of you. Feel free. I have a tough job. Okay? I'll try and get to communicate with you and engage all of you in a manner that will be interesting. And more than that, if I can sit down at the end of the presentation or the conversation with a level of conviction that not about setting expectation, but I've got a commitment from each one of you to follow the path to achieve our vision. I very deliberately said it will be a conversation for the simple reason that if you think there are better ways or different ways, add-ons that we have to do, feel free to contribute. So the word Brindavan, I'm sure some of you would have heard it frequently from my mouth. You would have read it. Definitely, I hope all of you understand it's not about building Krishna consciousness around our business or businesses, right? We do want to take control of our business and make sure that we have something all of us can be proud about, right? Value creation is incidental to our feeling very happy and very proud about what we have done. And we will only feel proud when we have created value, clearly, right? All of you are familiar with this vision? Clearly. What is missing in this?
Time frame.
Time frame is missing. Anybody else? It has got the word inspirational. Does it inspire you? Without a number put to it? Huh? The measures are not there. Oh, we will be a number one financial services business. We will achieve 10 lakhs crores of assets in whatever number of years. I will not put pressure on all of you, but it can be there. We will be a global organization. So those measures of size or measurable metrics do not exist in this vision. Does it still inspire us? If it has not done so far, I would like to make sure that by end of this session, this inspiration is achieved for all of us. Okay? I would call it as a courageous and audacious vision statement. Sound distant from what the sentence here when I make this statement? First is, it is a perpetual objective. It's a perpetual objective. We have, at all points of time, we are going to be better than at least a large number. We'll be in the top quartile of those institutions which will be admired and inspiring to all other participants in the industry, in the country. Right? That's a big task. There is going to be no standing still at any point of time in future. There is going to be no belief of having arrived or other satisfaction that we have arrived. because we'll have distance to travel all times. Second is, it is audacious to the extent that we are saying that, is it going to be based on our internal measures? Are we inspiring? Are we admirable? Have we created sustainable value? It's going to be outsiders who are going to measure it. We are going to see ourselves through the eyes of others and feel satisfied, yes, we are fulfilling this. Our internal measures are not going to be as relevant if others don't acknowledge what we are. So this conversation is around my beliefs or those enablers that we need to build to achieve our vision. Okay. This is the vision that we have stated. And how do we really reach there is what the conversation that's going to be this evening. Can any one of us tell me, what does it mean? When will we call ourselves having realized the vision? At any point of time, we measure our performance. As I said, it's going to be perpetual. But there will be points of measurement that we will have as we build our business. I put together dreams. I am very deliberately use the word dream. The reason being that the dreams are the ones which are discontinuous. It has got absolutely no relevance to where we are today. It will look unreal. But but of course, those dreams are going to be inspirational to us. We can have stretch goals. Is that the way to achieve vision? We can have beat every benchmark in the country. Do we feel that we have achieved our vision? Or will that help us really go forward with our vision? My belief is that from where we are today, if we want to set goals, stretch the goals or beating benchmarks, it will be incremental. It will not be discontinuous. A dream gives us the opportunity to think big, be not so concerned about where we are today, but then develop those set of enablers that will help us reach the goals. So I have dreamt, some HR people also have dreamt, and put all these things on the table for you. You may have bigger dreams, please feel free to express. Right? So we are trying to put together each element of our organization and try to get what we should be like. Right? Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the timelines. Because in my view, these are all artificial limiters. Think even bigger. No issues. But what's important is how do we build our competencies, capabilities, put in the enablers, and make sure that we behave in a manner, the conduct that we have demonstrate to others will be those which are going to help us realize our vision. Every organization basically built out of 5 elements. You will hear this 5 frequently right through this presentation in multiple contexts. Business, the purpose for which the organization exists, the processes, which guides you to achieve and realize the business goals, infrastructure, the enablers, tools, call it offices, whatever it may be, the governance, which ensures that the organizational behavior as well as the risk and sustainability is achieved through good governance, and last but not the least, the people, all of us. All of us are perhaps one of the key ingredients or the most important ingredient to realize everything else. Right? I think, I don't know whether all of you have heard about Hochlassen's statement. Say that there are machines. Do you remember that?
Machineries may be there, assets will be there, but without people, like it is nothing.
Nothing. Okay. This was his vision statement or his realization, which he expressed quite some time back. Right? So it's going to be we who is going to make the vision, or we will all lose our own way. Right? Not talking about whether we will realize the vision or not, but we will lose our way if we don't achieve that. And there are 5 stakeholders. You can relate on a one-on-one basis these stakeholders with the elements. They actually encompass more than one element. The business can be directly related to customers, people can be related to employees, but all the other 3 overlap in terms of what they take from those elements and what they give back to those elements. So one more set of 5, just the way our planet is made up of 5 elements. And in a sense, each one of these elements can also be linked back to the 5 elements of the organization and 5 stakeholders in an organization. We'll not spend time on debating about it, but that's not relevant, but it's the point. So, to understand each one of the elements a little better, Prithvi, I very deliberately use the Sanskritized names for the simple reason they leave an impression on you, and they've got multiple meanings than what an English word can give you. The Prithvi, or the earth, is that which makes every matter in the world. Right? In a crudest sense, it is the clay with which you make every matter. Every form is what is made out of that. The water, it provides fluidity. It also enables consumption of energy. If you don't have saliva in your mouth, there's no way that you can consume food. Okay? That's just giving a very simple example. Air, that's the breath. That which gives us life, keeps us going. Agni, that which actually transforms matter from one form to another form. Space, this is what the philosophy says, that is, everything has emerged out of space and everything goes back into space. In another sense, it is also ether, the sole medium of communication. And these elements are irrelevant if others are not existing. Any one element by itself is not complete. Right? If there is no water, there is no air, and there is no ether, it will be the moon, a barren planet where living life cannot survive. To take another example, ether. Without ether, there is no communication. Written, oral, radio, telephone. If you can't hear some phonetic sound, there is no alphabets you can form. So that's as important as that. And this, I'm trying to put this together in order to make a communication to you that these 5 elements, coexistence, balance, are equally important. Be it in a body, also we talk about 5 elements, and they need to coexist. The earth, all these 5 elements need to coexist to make a balance, this planet livable. Right? We know what happens when there is a greenhouse effect coming through, right? So when the balance is getting disturbed, and the organization is no different. There is no one stakeholder or no one element which is more important than the others. Does this sound basic? It is basic. Right? So, taking off from those 5 stakeholders who make the organization, if we have to convert our vision in context of each one of the stakeholders, how will it look? If readability is poor, please look at your LCD screens. There is a lot of content over there. To begin with, customers for whom we exist, what is value for them? Or what will be like to see from an organization? Service, that's the only connect with the customers. How do we build service? It's on the platform of innovation to offer differentiated services, offer services more efficiently, right? Transparency, so that he feels treated in a fair manner, and finally, the speed of service. So getting into sub-elements, if we want to talk about the breadth of service, we defined ourselves to be a comprehensive financial services player. With that, there is no choice but to be addressing all customer segments, their needs in respect of every service they would need as a financial services player from us. Okay. That's the way we need to look at the vision for the breadth of service that we want to provide. The quality, it's a function of multiple things, most of them immeasurable. Courtesy and transparency, can it be, or fair deal, can it be measured? It's a way he understands. So it puts us on a far higher level of responsibility. Consistency, it's not a one-time effort, right? And the last but not the least is that, are we able to offer a solution the first time? Okay. These define the quality of service. And for the breadth of service and for the quality, at what cost are we going to provide this service? I'm not talking about the least cost service provider. It is in the context of the quality, and the other peers who offer similar services, we have to be competitive in reference to them. The next set of stakeholders are the partners. These can be the vendors, these can be people who help us provide complementary services or supplement what we provide in a better form than that. We use vendors because we do not have an ability to do everything, or we do not want to do things, or we don't think we are the most effective provider of this service. Consequently, use partners. Partners are not a one-off relationship. They are going to be it's something which we can build an effective partnership, which will be mutually value-adding, only with a long-term arrangements, long-term vision for them. It has got to be thriving on mutual value and a long-term relationship. And here again, I think transparency and the trust and the willingness to build their own capability is equally important. The third set of stakeholders are society. Here, I define our vision around being a responsible citizen and be a role model. Is it a tall ask? It is. If you see in the environment that we are living in, can we be one as a role model? Can we have all the ethical practices? It's going to be challenging. We might make compromises. This debate is going to be difficult to have and conclude in one shot, right? Maybe there are times when we end up compromising, do it, but we need to be sure that why we are doing it and for whose purpose are we doing it. This is the environment that we are living in, so there is no way we can say that we can't stand still in any case. Right? That's what today's environment will leave us with if we don't make those compromises. But we need to be conscious about at what level these compromises are made and what purpose this compromise is made. That's extremely important. The shareholders, those who give us the capital for us to exist as an organization, They are looking for value creation, right? Which will be consistent, which will be predictable, which can only be on the back of risk management and governance. Okay. We are responsible in a fiduciary manner for the capital they've given to us. Consequently, we need to be conscious of the fact that we are managing somebody else's money, not our own money. We have an obligation to give them, return this money to them. How does ROE get generated? Try to put together. One, around services, which means the size of our business. Second, the customer segments that we service. And third, the geography that we service. These give you the growth. The second set is more like today and tomorrow forever is efficiencies as well as both on people, the operational efficiency and capital usage. Right? These deliver finally when we shareholder, we are looking at it very coldly in a mathematical form term because the shareholders also constitute our constituency of customers as well as society and partners sometimes. Okay? So here we have reduced it to really mathematics. Coming up with the segment which we all represent. I hope you are noticing I keep using the word we. Right? The key piece over here are those top 5 C's. This is what I will call it as a definition of an individual, right? Definition of an employee as well. He needs to have character, he needs to have competency, he needs to have the commitment. Commitment means alignment. Alignment and committed to the purpose, conduct, the way he interacts internally, the way he would interact with others, and finally, the cohesion or the teamwork that one needs to have. These 5 C's ultimately are important. That builds an organization. Is it my expectation, management expectation? Do you feel so? It is an expectation we set for each of us. Each of us need to be in this mode for us to really form a community. If you do not, then the community, there is something lacking over there. It may not be a complete and the most consummate community that we can build. So how do I look at value for employees? What is the vision of mine for the employees? Here there is no mathematics. There is nothing quantitative. It's all about engagement. An engaged employee is going to be, I don't need to tell him much. He will do it himself. When I say he, it includes me also. Right? So we need to have competent people for us to be innovative, for us to provide efficiencies, for us to provide the right solutions at all points of time. So we need competent people. Competency gets built around compensation, competitive compensation, which enables us both to get talent and retain them. The tools that we provide, the tools in the form of training and development, performance management. I can't miss an interaction without talking about performance management. Right? That's important. What does this 3 really deliver to you? The important platform for an individual is his self-awareness. That is what all these tools are expected to deliver to him. And who uses these tools? Who uses these tools? I said conversation, I've been talking for too long. Who uses these tools? We the leaders. We who enable them. Right? So our responsibility is slightly maybe taking you to the next level in terms of what my expectation is. From doing PMS very well to create self-awareness in each of the employees. if we get this right, I think we have delivered our vision to the people. The second half of this slide in terms of my vision is about what is the conduct expectation of each one of us and each one of the people with whom we work. Right? Talking about empowerment, which is the function of trust. The respect for individual, we'll have some serious conversation around that little later. Fairness and transparency, and alignment to vision and values. We belong here as LLTF's community because we are aligned. If you are not aligned, we'll embrace you, make you feel good, come back to us, be part of the community. We'll keep trying. All right? Alignment is important. So, without that alignment, there is going to be no community here, and there is no community means that we are not one. To see it all together, right? Is anybody very religious and understands how gods get their powers? Do you know? No idea. Each god is his complete power and form and everything is based on a yantra. Right? Sorry? Yantra. Meaning that's a kind of a chakra. So it decides, starts with where does the god live, to what are his powers. There are very different yantras for each one of them. I would call this as going to be our organizational yantra. Again, are we missing on specificity? Are we making motherhood statements here? No? What is it that we are attempting to do that others are not done, or others would not aim to do? Is it readable? Okay. Is there, it can be easily said that what's new about it? Is it? The piece that we need to really look at is that, okay, if this is what we wish to be, don't worry about what others are not. That's not relevant. If this is what we want to be, then the analysis about where we are today, what do we need to really move there? Right? So I would transcribe the vision that we said in 3 lines on the first slide to this as some level of detail. There is need for more detailing. Who is best aware about the detailing? All of you. Right? If you think that this is going to be our driving force for building the organization, building our future, right? Organization is people. Organization is the way we behave, the way we relate to people, both internally and externally. If we have to build that for the future, we need to make a starting point over here as to where we are today with reference to what we wish to be. These can be perpetually true, am I right? This can be perpetually true. Because you can never be complete in your offering. You can never be complete in terms of who you service. Because there are going to be new customers, right? Today we know that there are internet customers, or what we call as the climbers, or the demographic dividends. Right? Those who are having multiple members of the family being employed. So there is a different concept of consumption and demand. So we have an ability to service all of them. So this is going to be a perpetual yantra for this organization. That's my proposal. So 3 keywords: admiration, inspiration, and sustainability. And there is no way we are going to realize this vision if each one of us and the people who work with us, who we relate to, follow this. Right? Let's be clear about this, that this is not required just as an employee. Right? You can't have one character as an individual and another character as an employee. Right? When we talked about the ethical behavior, individually you cannot be held, rather, otherwise maybe bribing a traffic policeman or something to escape, or any other way of fulfilling your needs, let's say. Can't say that you will be very ethical when it comes to behavior as an employee in an organization. So they will have to be aligned in every respect. Right? Are we entering into your private life? We're saying that what you should be in your, we are, right? Huh? You believe so? That we are interfering?
No, no.
Oh, no?
I would say like whether this, I didn't hear you properly. I thought you were asking whether this also applies to the private life.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It has got to apply. You can't be different to two different individuals. Right? One for your family and one for the organization. It's a question of time before it merges and you become one clearly. So the vision is not about what the organization needs. The vision is also about how we will represent ourselves to the society as individuals too. So trying to establish a level of connectivity between the elements of Earth with each one of the points that we have talked about. Right? Are you able to, this is the Prithvi. Right? We are talking about infrastructure and society being the Prithvi for us. And this is the fluidity, processes which really enables the business being conducted very well, and partners who enable us to offer services. Okay? Not trying to debate about whether this is an appropriate relationship or not, but the point that I'm trying to communicate, or I want you to imbibe in your mind, is that as much as in the planet these 5 elements need to exist in balance, in organization also each one of them will have to exist in a level of balance to keep moving forward. Do I need to get into it? It's correct. Is the right statement? But having said that, let me just go through this.
Not only Brindavan, oneself also it will destroy. Not just Brindavan, oneself also, if you are negative personality, it will destroy the self also.
Correct. We talked about self-awareness. Right? That's a fundamental to a human feeling of security. Right? If the only person who will feel insecure is the person who thinks that he will lose something. You lose something because it is beyond your, it is beyond your domain of influence. If it is your domain of influence, you can control based on your qualities, your character, your conduct, your competency, your commitment. You are not going to be worried about it because you know you can defend it. The person who feels insecure is the person who aspires for more than what is his due. If I have to say in a karmic way or a philosophical way, but I'm just trying to say that if a person who cannot swim expects to cross a river in full flow, right, he will be insecure, he will take a few more people along with him. Okay. In a very, in a simplistic example, but in an organization also it is true. The person who aspires for, or who tries to achieve more than what he is currently able to do, is the one who's going to be insecure. Because he believes that someone else can do this same job or the achievement over there can be better, so I will be deprived of what I will get. So then he gets extremely defensive, right? And then does not allow others to get inside the domain that he has built for himself or created or assigns for himself. This is a piece that we need to fight against, which is where the importance of self-awareness comes. Right? The responsibility that we have to ourselves and to our people is to create this self-awareness. So this is a complete list of things an insecure person behaves in a way. Right? Insecurity, not confident, he's always fearful, he is combative, right? You can look at all those things. He's stressful because he's worried about what he's going to lose. I'm not getting into each one of them, but they represent a behavioral pattern of a person who is stressed, who is insecure, who is afraid of losing something. The only service that we can do to our people is to help them not be an insecure and wither away, right? But create a positive personality in them. This is one of the first of the behavioral expectation that I'm setting for all of us. I'm saying self-awareness is let's say the earth or the bhumi over which we can plant the positive personality tree. This will have the roots of values. Sure, you have heard about it. I'll again present my perspective on the values. Delayed gratification. How can we really not seek to fulfill our requirements today, or something that is available today, let me consume rather than wait for tomorrow? That's going to be another important root. The third piece is about being reliable, or I would convert and say that integrity. Okay. Delivering on our promises. What did I say? What have I delivered? Have I done it or not? Okay. These are the three important roots on which this tree of positive personality needs to be built. There's an example of delayed gratification, which I just got to understand today. There was an experiment done with the 4-year-old kids. Marshmallow. Okay. You want to recite it?
No.
Why not? I will have some water in the meantime. There is mics. Okay. So this was an experiment done with 4-year-old kids who were told that if you wait for the teacher to come back, you will get two melons rather than one. And they are kids there. There is no discrimination or discretion that they use, that there is no value for a second one to get, right? For them, it's there in front of me, I'm consuming. When the teacher came back, there were, say, 15-20% of those children who were not consumed and waiting for get the second one. And what the study proves is after 30 years, they have really done far better in their life, be it on education, be it on their family contact, right? Be it the way they've been able to handle stresses, difficult situations, or their achievement professionally have been far superior to, right? It's as good as doing an SIP, am I right, Vishu? Just keeping it aside for tomorrow, right? That's what is going to be the most important piece, right? In our organizations, and we can talk about, am I investing for future, or do I want to consume today or produce outcomes today? So this is important personal behavior, more so for leaders, It's about how do I make the life of my manager better than today. I will wait for my rewards to come later. When I say reward, it's not about variable pay, increment, promotions, etc. Don't get confused about it. The feeling of fulfillment. Right? That's the important piece, and the leaders need to actively practice it, in addition to the values, in addition to delivering on promises. And all of this is feasible only if we have the foundation or the fertile soil of self-awareness. Half our unhappiness, frustration, behaving distraught are all arising from lack of what we are, who we are. Okay. So that's important. That's where we have, as a group, an important role to play. We are all, 20 plus years of experience. We have seen life. We have seen organizations. We have seen people. If we can't do that to our people, who will do it for them? Right? It's not about managing expectations. Don't even get into those kind of thoughts in your mind. It's clearly telling the person the mirror, right? You all remember the mirror? Not many heads are shaking. I'm not. Sunil, we have to do the e-learning module again, no? We need to be that true mirror, really. And if we don't achieve this, we will have, if we do not know who we are, and if we do not help our people understand who we are, we will consistently be creating unhappy environment for ourselves. And this is something which personally, I strongly believe. Self-awareness supported by values, integrity, and delayed gratifications results in the person secure. He feels secure, or he is willing to delay gratification because he feels secure. I'll get it when I'm due. Right? And I'm due in any case. Okay? That's the way he builds it around. Then you can see that the way the personality emerges. He is self-respecting, the most valuable asset that one can have, really. Right? The only inalienable asset. It's useless for anybody else. It's precious for each one of us. He is loving, determined, humble, wise. And you can see the kind of, the various synonyms or the derivatives of that, some of these words. This is a true behavior of a secure individual. And this security can come only based on self-awareness and looking to control the domain that you can. Is it perpetually that your domain will remain the same? No. When you are self-aware, then there is an aspiration inside you, then you build your competencies, you build your abilities. How do I do that? Like, I can explain to you one individual in L&T who joined this company as a stenographer. And he retired as the most valued company secretary for the group. Amazing. That's because at all points of time, he knew what he needs to do to achieve the next level, rather than being worried about, oh, he is doing better. Somebody else is doing better. That concern has never been in his mind. Right? You do not associate a typist to become a company secretary of a large corporation. And he was one of the most trusted and valued individual in the company. Right? So it's about, if this is I just want to spend that much time more with all of you on this concept of self-awareness. Okay? You all aware of the values? Rajanish has spent that extra time writing out one word for all of you. Recites. Don't recollect? Okay. Yes, it's about the 7 of them you will see now. Oh, you did not link these with values. Okay, all right. So I'll give you one more opportunity to link it and just put it inside your mind in a permanent memory form. Okay. The purpose, each organization exists, customers, and consequently we need to be serving them. Oh, sorry. The next piece comes integrity. Right? It's not different as an employee from what you need to do as an individual. It defines every relationship. Whether you are two of you are to a spouse or cohabitant is a function of the integrity, right? Fulfills emotional integrity, economic integrity, right? It cannot be very different in an organization. We are human beings, we are emotion, right? So that's the way I'm trying to say that. Excellence, this is one thing I will never get bored of talking about. Neither can you get bored, is the essence of life. That results in innovation. That helps you really experiment with a larger territory at all points of time. From being self-aware, practice excellence, you go to the next level of competency and then try to build it. It promotes innovation, become capable of taking risk or confident of taking risk and become an entrepreneur. If you achieve both of these, then you feel your confidence level in yourself goes up. Okay? And the person who feels secure with a level of self-esteem is the one person who will respect others because he has nothing to fear. Right? And if he is respecting others, then the teamwork gets promoted. And with teamwork, the sustainability comes. The customer centricity associated with all the values that we described ensure the organization is sustainable. If individuals sustain themselves, the organization sustains itself. It keeps rediscovering itself because you know that your purpose is customer centricity, you are excellent, you are entrepreneurial, you respect others, you build teamwork, then we'll keep rediscovering ourselves to perpetuity. Okay. And when this all happens, I don't know whether you saw that. Does it look like a tornado? Somewhat like it. It's actually centrifuge. Just to demonstrate the fact that positive qualities create a virtuous cycle and consequently gains both mass and velocity. It's true for the individual and true for the organization too. Right? We have a lot of good examples of such events, right? Freedom movement, for example, is an extremely strong example of started sometime in 1857 with some, right? The Sepoy mutiny, and then it became such a major movement. I'm sure the world over there was multiple such movements which have happened and which are happening also. We heard about the what that happened in Middle East, what's it called? Arab Spring. Right? And it has resulted in change of governments. Change of long-lasting dictators have disappeared in no time. I'm wanting to focus around this because this represents the effect of human behavior, human conduct, clearly. There is a vicious cycle also, right, which can bring down everything. That is with the help of negative qualities or negative conduct, negative elements. Can we be static? Can we say that we'll be where we are? Impossible. It's never in balance. The universe is not in balance, the earth is not in balance, the organization is never in balance. Even to keep where you are, this momentum has to be maintained. Right? That's what is expected, and please contribute to this positive momentum. Right? I'm completely willing to spin so fast that we can really go into outer space. Absolutely no challenges for me. Willing to travel with all of you. But build this momentum. Brindavan, Krishna consciousness, now we are into Shiva. Well, familiar with this idol? This big image? This is the famous Nataraja idol. It's popular in South India, not so much in other areas. In fact, in the context of the values, what we are talking about is actually every one of our action will have to be towards building a sustainable organization, sustainable outcomes. Right? That's what we say as sustainability. Is that a correct statement? You want to supplement? So this is an idol which is one of the most magnificent pieces you can come across. Uniformly, you will find these idols across wherever it is displayed. It's magnificent. Do you know how they are made, or any one of you want to describe this? How was it made? Or in this, there are multiple elements which philosophically people do talk about. Right? I've never got tired of looking at this in my life. Whenever I go to a Shiva temple, you can stand and observe, you will find no answers all the time. This is made of brass, bronze, or using panchaloha, 5 metals. How many 5s you have heard so far? No. This is an alloy consisting of copper, gold, zinc, silver, and lead. I've seen these idols size of so much to as tall as me. It's an amazing sculpture, amazing idol to really look at it. This is one technology which is quite Indian. Getting an alloy of these 5 metals is quite Indian. And that too developed and nurtured in another village near my village. This belongs to the Chola king times, right? Why am I describing so much? So each one of the elements contribute to something to the qualities or the physical characteristics of this idol.
Curiosity, what is their proportion?
Copper is about 70%. Gold is maybe 1% and less. Gold and silver will be 1 to 3% kind of levels. Lead is about, I think, 8 or 9%. And zinc. Right? Do you know zinc alloy? Alloy made with zinc? Bronze is made with copper and zinc. The quality of that bronze is that it is very sharp in features, high level of hardness, but very brittle. Okay. Then there is brass, which is made of copper and engineer. Huh? That's very malleable, but it doesn't break, but doesn't have the hardness. Its shape can be changed. So you can imagine each one of these elements have been put into the right composition. And mind you, these have got extremely high ranging melting temperatures. Lead is the lowest, gold is the highest. Just imagine how do they really make it work. right? And this is made manually, right? There are no machines, there are no furnaces. Amazing technology. This is still not practiced by people outside this country. They don't know how it is getting done. And there are no other catalysts used, like you don't use some chemical things to help achieve certain reactions, certain. So here is one piece which is the copper gives it the size, malleability, so that it doesn't break when it is subjected to a lot of stress. The size itself gives it stress. Okay. The lead gives it the luster, the color. The gold and silver is supposed to represent the purity of a god. Right? And bronze gives it the hardness, to be able to take weight. Okay? So this is what the metals are made of. It's one of the most magnificent piece. No, it is melted. Molten. So there is a process of adding them in a series, right? For example, lead has the lowest melting temperature. That's where it starts, and then they keep adding while keeping the. This is done in an open hearth furnace kind of a thing. Okay, if I have to say that it is, it's not the electric furnaces or anything. Anyway, that's a lot of technology. I've only read about and heard about it. I don't know. I've not seen it being done. But just that. This is exactly what I'm saying. If you want to be a shining example, the most ideal idol, the sculpture, you have to fuse. Right? And bring those values that we can bring to the table. I see this also as a representation of leadership behavior. There are multiple elements. I'm going to focus on a few of them, not necessarily all of them. Okay, there is. After I finish, I will tell you what other elements are there as part of a research or the way people interpret this idol. The first is the arch of ring of fire. Okay, you can see that it is all tilted towards one side. What it means is that it's all continuously rotating. Represents the universe. So the Shiva is dancing in the midst of universe. The jeta, there is a free-flowing hair of his. What it represents, rather what it symbolizes is that he is an ascetic, meaning he is a person with what sthita prajna or an emotion-free or free of biases, right? That's what his face also looks extremely all the time at peace, right? The jeta represents, it symbolizes the ascetic, meaning that those who are into the godly way or the sainthood do have a jeta. They don't. Okay, it's a matted hair. That's what it is supposed to symbolize. Then look at this, the small dwarf on whose body he is dancing. There's a story around it, but I will not get into it. He represents the ignorance and ego. The next piece is the damru, am I right? Yeah. The one which creates the sound of life, sound of creation. Okay. In a sense, it's a two cones connected together, so it also symbolizes the male and female forms to represent creation. May not be very visible on the screen, which is why we have put a circle around it. The next piece is the fire on the left hand. Right? That symbolizes his continuous destruction of evil, the unwanted, and then recreation of the world. Okay. Abhayahasta, the one which is, I am the protector. Be fearless if you want to come to me. There is the left hand, which is pointing to the raised leg. It represents elevation of the mind, right? He's dancing, right? At some point of time, the left leg would have been on the apasmara or the dwarf. Since having demolished the ignorance and ego, the mind gets uplifted. That's what it symbolizes.
There is one additional element.
There are many more elements. Please feel free.
No, but in the context of what you are telling us, I think the snake which uncoils from his forearm and touches the ring of fire represents the Kundalini or the Shakti
Correct.
that resides in
That represents the energy inside you. Okay? There is this lotus stand that is represent to the world in which creation happens. Okay? Then there is a snake with the apasmara himself. Okay? There is this flowing robe. You can continue to discover. Right? There are many of these elements there. Okay? Now, I don't know whether they really made it with all these thoughts in their mind, or there are interpretations which have come over a period of, when I talk about Chola, it's 600 AD. So today we are living in the 21st century. So there's been a lot of evolution of these interpretations. Did I communicate the leadership behavior to you by explaining what each element represent? Right? Can somebody do it for me? I said conversation, but there has been very limited conversation. It's all right. I have a responsibility, I will do it. Right? Anybody wants to say a few things? One or two? Anything that you think is relevant to a leadership conduct? Nobody wants to volunteer? Okay.
Balance and harmony.
Any, of course, whatever. Balance and harmony, and also a particular grace and protective hand for the world.
Protective hand of the world.
For the world.
How do you link
A
it to
protective presence.
Let's take only that protective hand. You want to just expand on that and say that how does it symbolize as a leadership behavior? So this abhayasta represents the leadership behavior expected of empowering, trusting, and be able to be there when he needs you. Right? Any other element?
Creation and animation go hand in hand for better world or better future. That is what
Okay, good.
somewhere balance comes.
Yeah, if you create, you have to destroy, and if you destroy, you have to create also, right? But in a leadership construct, what it means is that just vibrate that mind to be excellent, be innovative, get him to do something different. Right? That's the way I see it, really. And then the fire on the left hand, destroy evil. Be it behavior, negativity, all of this clearly. To move into the next level, the jeta, an ascetic, a leadership need to be an emotional person, right? Or in balance at all points of time. If I have to remove emotional but say that it's about being in balance at all points of time. Being objective. Right?
Jeta can also symbolize many other things. For example, a degree of being carefree, lack of vanity.
Okay.
Letting your hair
So if you say lack of vanity, I'm completely agreeing with you.
there was coffee, something else, before that's why it took so long.
Yes, I would agree with you that you see value in yourself, you don't see value about the form that you represent, really. That's another interpretation you can do that clearly. Yes.
In that sense.
Sorry? Victory over ignorance. No, you as a leader, you need to eliminate ignorance in your people. Create a self-awareness. Right? That's what it means. Right? Remove that ignorance and ego from the people and help them really elevate. That's what this is representing for you. All right? So we can, it's about, when I read through it, I did not mean to use this as part of my entire presentation, but when I read about it, I just couldn't help actively using this to demonstrate leadership or symbolize leadership behavior expected. Okay? Just a reminder of what we have spoken so far. The values and the yantra for us. Right? So this is the yantra, this is the way of offering puja to that yantra, to the God, which is all of us together as an organization. But if you are religious, take it that way. If you are not, just say that this is what I have to work for, this is how I will do it. Right. So, did we discuss vision? Elements of vision we did discuss, right? I would call it as elements of vision. For each of the stakeholders, and what do we really offer them as our value proposition to each one of them. For a change, I'm talking about all of us also in the third person dimension, but we are all part of it really. The second is the way to realize this vision. Our beliefs and our behaviors. As I conclude, right, I don't want to sit down thinking that I made an extremely emotional connect with each one of you, right? And I'm impressed, I'm happy with my presentation. That's not the mind with which I want to sit down. As I said right at the beginning, if I have connected with you, got your buy-in to these vision, elements of vision, and also the way to realize this vision, and your commitment to contribute to expand this, our vision, or in terms of how do we realize, this is when I'll feel happy that I've done my job. If you go out and say that it was a very good presentation, I'll be less than happy. I'll be happy as an individual, yes, but if I have to represent the organization in front of you, I'm going to be less than happy. Okay? Thank you.
If you have any questions,
I gave them opportunity from beginning. I said a conversation. No problem, please feel free. Feel free if there is anything that you want to ask me, and there are enough people available to respond more than me. I don't know how much is my knowledge, but there are enough supplements available to me. Teamwork.
In the tree, the base is shown as self-awareness. So, what exactly it is, what does it mean? So more thoughts on and in fact, basically, what does it mean for an individual?
Okay. See, there is, of course, the philosophical or a Vedantic way of saying that find out who you are. Okay. Search for the truth means that find out who you are. In the context that we are talking about, it's about understanding oneself. Right? When I say who am I, it is to understand what am I capable of doing. what is the environment in which I am operating? What this environment will allow me to achieve with my current level of abilities. There is always the desire and aspiration for future, but I think you need to understand who am I in this way. The context being the environment and me as a person, individual. That's what I'm referring to as self-awareness. Does it mean that it is limiting you to where you are today? Definitely no. If you are self-aware and you know where you have to go, then you find a way to reach there, right? Ethical way, fair way. Not by wishing others failure, but building what I can do better, right? That's what is self-awareness, and that's what I would say that each one of our responsibility to make it happen for the people who we work for. It's not about subordinates and 1 downs, 2 downs, 3 downs, ISNS, no. It's about everybody around us, be it your peers, be it your subordinates, be it your bosses. Help people get to know who they are.
Can I add something to it? Add to it, basically.
I would say self-awareness is a means to an end in this context. The end is self-actualization in the context of the organization. Yeah, it is just a way to the actualization. Actualization as part of the organization.
So just to expand what Mr. Bhujang said, that awareness is about what you are today. The potential is that what you can build for the future. So what he is saying is that can each one of us look to what we can build and become self-actualized so that you can, as an organization, you can have a larger impact on everything, right?
I would like to add something in the organizational context. So this is something I talk to many times to new management trainees who join and talking about their self-awareness, what they mean for organization. So if you compare the organization to a body, your own body, the body has a skeleton, the body itself, the muscles, there is a heart, there is a brain. And if you compare the organization to that, then there will be brain of the organization, there will be body of the organization, there will be some people who will be the heart of the organization. Okay. Self-awareness comes from you choosing and you realizing what you want to be. If the body is all brain or all heart, the body will stop. So there will be people who will consciously prefer to be the muscles, right? There will be people who consciously choose to be heart, all passion, and people who will be thinkers, brain. I believe self-awareness is about you realizing what is your place, being the most valuable person contributing to the organization in that place, and then most importantly, not grudging what the other organ is getting. If you choose to be a body, you will perhaps not get the same type of importance, not the same level of importance that the brain gets or what the heart gets. But always realize that you have chosen to be the body or you have chosen to be the brain. And hence expect the same thing back from the organization. Because there will be people who, for example, want to work in a particular way, talking absolutely at basic level. If you work in a particular way, being 9 to 5, I will do my job, go back, then there will be certain people who will give everything to the company. You may get back different results from the company based on that. Then don't grudge that. Be aware that this you have chosen in your sphere of self-awareness. That is what I would put, and I normally tell it to much younger people who are just starting their careers, that you choose what you want to be, really. And the organization will give you the opportunity to be whatever you want.
So if you are the muscles, can you not be a brain sometime in future? Of course you can be. Right? So this is one body, a set of body parts which can transform itself. Okay?
But the point is that you have chosen it, whatever.
At a point of time. At a point of time. All right? And incidentally, body has also got 5 elements. We'll not bore you with that. The physical body as well as the spiritual body. Okay.
president to go about it. I think from a long-term perspective, these are the traits or these are the behavior. And since we have the leadership team here, this is what we need to practice from a long-term perspective if we were to create Brindavan here. But looking at it, as you rightly said, in current context and where we are, if you were to prioritize for all of us, what are your expectations from all of us as leaders in this room? Because all of these are behavioral aspects which will get built over a period of time. Or one will start practicing, which one has to do on a day-to-day basis. But if you were to ask from expectation perspective, where do you see or what do you expect from us?
See, I don't want to call it as my expectation. I think it's unfair to say that I want it. That I'm actually not behaving the way I'm requesting each one to behave. I'll just give an analogy. The way, if investors ask me what is the growth that you will achieve for the current year, I say the growth is an outcome. Right? It's an outcome of my choices on quality of credit, the pricing, right? Whether I can service or not. Let me enable myself with all of this, let growth be the outcome. If the pricing I cannot match with what the competition was offering, let me look at my cost structure, I will improve it to be able to deliver the same. So I think this entire, when you talk about priority, my priority is those enablers. Vision will be realized if we get the enablers in place. The enablers are beliefs and behavior. No compromise from my end at least on that. Beliefs and behavior. And I think if you're convinced about what we have discussed here, conversed here, please carry forward and practice, carry forward and propagate. Right? This we have taken it as an opportunity to communicate. I think we have reached a size and scale. And if I tell you that we add at port, we used to add about 100% of the organization every year about 5 years back. Today we are at about 30 to 40% we are adding every year. Right? It's extremely important that we set these. If we miss now, perhaps we'll become an ICSI size and we'll still be groping for what to do. Right? We'll become that size. But before that, we need to get these things very clearly in our mind. Is it anything new? No, but I'm just wanting to communicate that this is what I believe will be an organizational way of achieving the outcome that we have set for ourselves.
One encounters negative personality, part of life. But in terms of helping someone, or transform or move to a positive personality, apart from helping them maybe to a degree with self-awareness, is there anything else we can do?
The most important piece, the way I believe, is that please do not demonstrate any one of the negative qualities to him. Right? That's the beginning. That's the best thing that you can do at the moment. By your example, by your behavior, by your accomplishments and outcomes, that's the way to change. There is no, you can do it. See, counseling is not for, demonstration is the best counseling that one can do in my view. Do I sound like a guru or somebody? No, I'm not professing one to be like that, please. I'm being with the feet on the ground and trying to, well, am I where all the statements have been made? I'm not. I'm conscious about it. But as I keep speaking about it, then I get the obligation or the responsibility to behave like that. Okay? See, the important piece is that getting that positive momentum going. Momentum of those good behaviors and good beliefs. And the rest of that, leave it to the centrifuge, it will happen. Thank you.